Hello and welcome to another edition of Fortified City TV Roundtable. Today we have another interesting topic, and I believe you will be part of this discussion, or we are hoping you can be part of this discussion. We are talking about how can we fight corruption in Liberia. Now, from experience and from interactions with different agencies, ministries, individuals, businesses in Liberia, we know that corruption is at the root. It's in every fabric of that nation. So it's not only one place. So if we have to fight corruption, we must fight from all angles. And we should fight from every side. And so it brings us to the discussion how to. No one person have a solution, but together we can have a solution. And so it brings me to the place where we must have this discussion. And this is what the roundtable is all about. Bringing you the ills in the society, talking about those issues that need to be discussed and for solutions to also come. So here we are this morning. You are welcome wherever you are. This is the roundtable on Fortified City TV, and I'm your host, Pastor Patience. I have with me on the panel this morning, and they will be introducing themselves. So I'm going to give them the opportunity to do so. At the same time, I want you to know we're going to have some input from people in Liberia because we want to hear the voices. People there that also, can make their own suggestion or their voices heard. Again, this is what Fortified City TV is all about. We are your voice and we amplify your voice. So, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, and welcome again to another time on the round table. Good morning. We'll start from Abraham is all the way in Liberia, and he will be bringing to us the voices from the motherland. Abraham, you are welcome.
Thank you, and of course, it's a pleasure being on the roundtable on 45 City TV. Let me say thanks to you, the CEO, thanks to your panelists, and again, bravo to all of our audience, those of our people who are watching us. It's good to be here to provide the necessary information uh, in making sure that our country, Mama Liberia, is on the right path in terms of development, infrastructure, education, and water too. So it's good to be on the platform and of course to share our thoughts in making our country a vibrant one.
Thank you, Abraham. Mr. DeLong, you are welcome.
But yes, I'm glad to be here today. To be a part of the discussion, the discourse about our country, to espouse ideas and try to come with us with various solutions on how to bring about change in our country and try to put it on the right track and the right trajectory for a better, more prosperous future.
Thank you so much, Honorable Bonnie.
Yes, I'm glad somebody on the panel from Liberia familiar with me, Abraham. Again, good morning and happy New Year to my people back home and abroad. I'm happy this morning that we got our fresh snow today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, our first snow. But anyway, speaking on the topic, where I'm Joseph K. Banning. I'm speaking to you from Indianapolis, Indiana, the USA. And, I'm happy this morning every time I get on the show to talk to my people, because it is such place as here that we can brainstorm and put ideas together to see how we can make our country better. Corruptions in our country is like every fabrics of our being, of our living, has become corrupt. Like I said the other day, today when the baby is born, the very first cry that comes from the babies, mob is corruption, corruption, corruption. How can we be able to curtail it? We cannot eradicate it, but how can we curtail it? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And I think I got better ideas. While we go forward, it's only Joseph K. Barney can curtail corruption in Liberia.
Wow, that's a big one. Only Joseph. We stand to see that, Mr. Barney. Let's go back to Abraham. My phone is ringing, but we're not answering call right now. Mr. Colley, you in Liberia, and we want to hear the voice of the people. This is the program that brings, the voice of the people to the rest of the world. We want them to hear what people have to say in Liberia. So we want to hear there's an adage that says from the horse's mouth. We want to hear what their own solution is as a concern, helping to minimize corruption. So I can't hear you. You are muted. You are muted. You are muted. Okay.
All right. So we now go around it and talk to Liberians this afternoon, because it's in the afternoon in Liberia, 24 minutes past 3. And of course, I have this brother here this afternoon. Good afternoon, brother. Your name?
Good afternoon. I'm Samuel Bestman.
Samuel Bestman. I see you smiling. How's it like?
Not bad. Everything's okay.
Okay. Samuel Bestman, everything is okay and not bad. Tell us, how do you see Liberia in the next 6 years? How do you see Liberia?
First of all, I want to be grateful to God, and I want to appreciate you for that question you asked. This country we found ourselves in today, looking at the present environment, we just hope and show that the new government will put things in order for us to better our life. Because over the past period of time, people come with a lot of talks to all the beautiful platforms, election after election, the implementation for their platform. That's what the huge problem we've been facing over the period of
time. Okay, so now I want to look at this. Corruption has taken over Liberia. Everybody knows corruption. How do you intend fighting corruption in Liberia as a citizen of this country? What's your thought on fighting corruption?
One way I think we can fight corruption is we gotta go back to the roots. We gotta look at where the corruption is mostly in our society today. They look at the streets, they look at market, they look at the government. In the government is where you find most of the political, the corrupt activity going on. And one of the key factors of this current in the government today we see is the political instability. What you see, like example, you see we got the new government coming today. These guys there at the back for a long period of time, and they coming. And in the process of coming, this time around, you see more businesses, you see people going to them, the going to them, like giving and give and things. So you see, but in that process of them giving you gift, at the end of the day, if that meant that the partisan, you will like compromise the interest, you got to make all this throw and see, and you got to reap into your time. Now, all they give you something in return to protect this interest tomorrow. So based on your inability, or based on one or two things you don't have it, and you accept a gift from the man, definitely tomorrow you got to accept the man. You got to protect the man too. And next for it too, Liberia is a country right now that you see everybody are afraid because of one or two things. You see people being government or people being some institution or in the school. You will see this particular guy carrying on taking money, taking by from students. Only because you know the guy having any link with the principal or having any link with the proprietor, you will look up because you want to protect your job.
So because you want to protect your job, and of course, you will stand for the truth. So, I mean, I want to get something clear from you, Bethany. Now, to get rid of corruption, it has to just eradicate corruption is hard, but what's the method in curtailing corruption in the
Okay.
future? What's the
So in
method?
order to control corruption in the country, there are a few things we look at. The first one, we got to carry on awareness. Secondly, these people are in the act of corruption. We try to figure them out. And we figure them out, try to prosecute them. Because people like what we live in today, we love to live by example. Once you prosecute one or two people or individual, you see other people like you'll be afraid. That fear will come upon them.
So if they fail to prosecute those people that are being caught in the web of corruption, I mean, what does it mean for the country?
The country, people will continue doing it. Will continue to do it. Continue to do it. Just like that. That's the move. We pass on one generation to another generation.
All right. Once again, your name?
Desmond Samuel.
Desmond Samuel. Thank you so much for talking to us. So we'll move to another place, and of course, so I will get to another person. We will subsequently join the team for the continuation.
Okay. Thank you so much, Abraham. Thank you for the contribution of Desmond over there. He talked a lot. He talked so many points that he raised over there. He talked about how we need to fight corruption, and the reason why we still have corruption in our society is because we are not doing what we're supposed to do. He talked about awareness, creating awareness that this is wrong. He talked about arresting people that are found in the act. And he also talked about persecuting people. If they are arrested, they need to be persecuted. The law need to take its course. An example should be set on these people so that we will have, this same thing reoccurring. Because if we don't do this, that's his suggestion. If we don't do this, it's going to continue on and on. We want to go to Mr. Barney before we go to DeLon. Mr. Barney, how can we fight corruption in Liberia? You heard the young man what he said. And you can also make comments on his opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Desmond, for your input. I appreciate that. You touched some important points. But one thing that you did not talk about, and the foremost thing, like I said, is only Joseph Barney can curtail corruption in Liberia if given the opportunity. How? Number one, what we are lacking in Liberia is law and order. Law and order. Like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf spell L-I-E, lie. I would say L-A-W-N-O-R-D-E-R. Law and order. When we have law and order in place, where does it start from? From our Justice Minister, from the Justice Department, down to the police. When we can start dealing with those people, I'm telling you, we are getting the tail of corruption. And like you said, another thing I want to also interject here is that let's get rid of some of these infirmities. That is society. Once me and you, we are in a gang that we call the BBC, Barbara Company. This Barbara Company, everyone in the member of Barbara Company is like we are brotherhood. If anybody does wrong in the Barbara Company and I am the leader, I always, want to push him aside. Those things will fall under law and order. Justice is blind. And if justice is blind, let's take it as that. It don't mean my brother, my mother, my father, you do the wrong, we deal with you according to order. And another thing, just short, because I know we have other people on the panel. Let's do as the president for Sierra Leone did some time ago. He arrested all former government, brought them to book. And this is what we're lacking in Liberia. It started 18 years ago with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf when she said she is the enemy of corruption. She come to fight corruption. Men like Alex Tyler, Sherman, in that bogus deal with the arm dealer, with the foreign arm dealer. These were, according to them, they brought them to court. But what has happened to them? They let them slide off. Ellen Johnson selling children. Our oil block. When the mismanaged it, Ellen Johnson selling came online and apologized, which means she took responsibility. But what has happened? Nothing. Because why? There are no laws in Liberia, or we got a law, but it's not being implemented. So number one thing, the new government should look at. And if I will point finger, I want to point finger at my own uncle, JNB, Joseph Newman Boakai. You said the reason why you were not functioning was you were a parked car in the garage. And you have been parked for 18 years. And I know what a race car is. I'm in America, I've seen race cars. When race cars start on a track, it fire up, boom, it gone. I want to give you an advice. On day one of your inauguration, after signing that document and accepting the Liberian people mandate that you are our president, you better stop running. You better start putting people on a house arrest. Not only the Georgia government, but go in your government and put some people on a house arrest until we can set up a committee for law and order to go against them. Arrest.
Okay, we will come back to you, Mr. Barney. Thank you. I like the analogy you gave. You talk about the race car. When you fire up and when the race car starts, it don't stop until it reaches its destination. Maybe the only thing that can stop a race car, unless it have an accident, then it's beyond the control of the driver. But when the driver is in control, he fires up and he reached the finishing line. We are praying, we are hoping that this will be the case of Liberia. We want to say thank you for that, and we will come back to you. We also want to say thank you for Mr. Chuchu Jones. He's just joining us. He's one of our panelists on the Fortified City Roundtable. We want to go back to Liberia, where we have one of our correspondents, Abraham. He's in the community, and he's getting the views of the people within the community. Abraham, are you ready?
Yeah. I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining me. So I have with me this. Oh man, they were in the beginning. So, sir, I'm Joseph Kamutin. Welcome to 45 City TV Live. Thank you. All right. 2 questions to answer quickly. How do you see Liberia in the coming stage here when the elected president Ambassador Boakai will take over as the president of this country?
Thank you. It's very good of me, but I think so. We're taking the first 3 years the same. We expect good. We're expecting the good normality. As the war and people who are found created incorrect attitude, if they are not going to question, so I'm going to expect to go right back to him. I will take for them, we're going to do the same thing to him. There will be more people, and maybe we will go beyond that. Because we want our current children on board to live better lives, not expect people to live the life, children come and live the school life. So I think about it.
So if the LSCC that's supposed to prosecute corrupt officials of government officials fail to do this, meaning the citizen was still going to go back to the executive mansion of protest? So true. Do you think protest is the answer this problem in the country?
It's a government extension. And if you are sitting person, if you the protection against things if you don't go to work, it is national to know that the USA you are involved in the corrupt attitude.
So, what is method for children corruption? Because corruption, to just get rid of it one time is hard.
You think that it takes corruption to start at once. But if you say example, for example, if I steal government money, and I went to LSC and investigate my account building. If I can party, you see my party and sell it. Money for the government. It comes out for the chill for lifetime. So if it's one person, the first 3 person going to do will continue to do that. So you expect your character. You don't want to be involved in such a thing, they won't expect you. It will be record on you and your children and so on.
Oh, thank you so much, bro. If you want to hear me,
Come with you, sir. Thank you.
thank you so much, Mr. Teacher, for talking to us.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. So moving to another point, we'll get it. We will join the team for another spot of interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you. One thing that struck me, at one point he struck, when he said that the same thing. He said, if this president won't deliver the same thing they did to the other president, they're going to do it to him. In other words, they are expecting delivery. There was a word that came that people should manage their expectation. People are not managing any expectation. They are expecting delivery to take place and in the appropriate time frame that is already allotted. So they are hopeful and they are looking forward to this change. They are looking forward to this rescue thing. We want to go to Mr. DeLong, that will be giving us his view on what the old man said, as well as how we can fight corruption in Liberia. Mr. DeLong, you are welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And yes, I must commend the old man for everything that he said. It was impactful. And also, as far as my point of view, my vantage point when it comes to how to curtail corruption in Liberia, I would have to say that I agree with my fellow panelists who stated that there has to be law and order. For me, when I say law and order, I'm talking about the tone at the top, those who are at the top of the society, the governmental structure, have to make sure that they make sure that the populace understands that corruption is public enemy number one, and they have to take charge of each branch of government. The leadership in each branch of government have to stand for the lack of corruption. They have to make sure that they communicate that to the subordinates, communicate that to the people, and also they have to live by it. They have to be stringent when it comes to that, right? When they do that and they create this awareness, the next thing, there has to be accountability, meaning that they have to set systems in place within the structure of the government to make sure that corruption is found, and when it is discovered, something is done about it. Now, the way to set up these structures would be like internal control. Internal control is almost like how in government it puts a check and balance. Internal control basically means that there's no one person that controls the entire system when it comes to either receiving pay or making pay. So one person receives pay, one person do the recording, another person make a payment. So as a result, if you got 3 people doing that, 9 times out of 10, all of them will not just be in cahoots because they all may not agree on that. You know what I mean? So as a result, somebody there is a possibility, stronger possibility than if only one person were doing it, that someone there will say, this is not correct. And they will report, right? Now, when you do that, in order to encourage that, what you have to have is you got to give people incentives to do the right thing. Now, the first incentive will have to be competitive pay. You got to pay the people a living wage. Now, if the people are not making a living wage, what's going to happen is those same 3 people that's supposed to check on each other, they will look at it and say, but I need to carry a bag of rest to my children to eat. I need to pay my children tuition. So you know what? At the end of the day, yes, let's do this thing. But everybody is getting a competitive wage, and everybody they know that I can go to work for my 30 days and get enough money where I can take care of me and my children. 9 times out of 10, because of their own self-respect and dignity, they don't want to see the name in the newspaper. They don't want people to hear those kind of things about them. They will stand up for what is right, right? So once you have the internal control, you pay people a competitive wage, you will see that, these things will start coming to the light. But when it comes to the light now, you have to do something about it, because we have seen here, even in Liberia, even under this environment where we say corruption is rampant, there have been cases that came out where people did the wrong thing and nothing happened. It was a slap on the wrist, or the president key and pardon the man, or everything just flew under the radar and nothing happened. So if you do that, if there's accountability and the people are reporting these cases and no one is doing anything about it, then they feel, well, I must say I can do it too. Nothing will happen, you know? And you also have to make sure that people understand that they are constantly being monitored in their jobs. Someone is there to monitor also. Outside of the internal control, they have to also understand that they're being monitored. And what the monitor will do will create something they call deviance, right? Or variance from deviant behavior, So 9 times out of 10, a decent person, like you said, you go to the store, everything around the shelf. But because they get camera hanging in the corner, sometimes even if you're hard to, you say, you know what, let me take it and put it in my pocket. For the fact that you know that camera there, you may think twice. That camera may not even be working. But it may cause you to veer away from that deviant behavior because you know you are being monitored. So all these things have to be put in place. The accountability, you got to have internal control, you got to make sure people get a competitive wage, you got to make sure that they are being monitored. If you put all these things in place and they make the reports, then you also have to make sure that the government do the right thing. How do you do that? You got to make sure that you have strong laws against corruption. You got to make sure you strengthen the penal system. Now, the penal system, now what comes in after the people make the report. If the people make the report to the justice system, then you have to make sure that the consequences for those actions are severe. Because there are some people who, even with all that done, if you look at it, say, but I take 1 million, I only get 1 more in jail. I would do it, man. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that there's a strong justice system, strong penal system, strong laws in place, that when it does happen, examples are made out of those who do it, regardless of how big you are, how small you are. You face the system. So you need a robust criminal justice system. You need stringent laws. And you got to make sure that the penalties are executed stringently. If you do that, you see, the thing about it is, you cannot eliminate fraud. You cannot eliminate corruption altogether, but you can curb it. You can mitigate it, but you cannot completely eradicate it. But so now, when you put these things in place, you start to see that it will start to curb corruption. It will start to mitigate corruption. You start seeing that there will be more money in the government revenue. Instead of us going to big people to pave our roads, we may be able to pave our roads ourselves, fund our schools ourselves, and so forth. And then after this goes on for a long period of time, it creates a culture, a way of doing things that we all can say, oh my God, that's how Liberian people do things. Because now we are creating a new culture of standing up for what is right. And then that reverberates and continue to go on in society. So that's my perspective. I know I have other panelists, so I would give them the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Dillon. We will come back to you. Mr. Dillon hit the nail right on the head. Right on the head. Yeah, a lot. You know, accountability, internal control, check and balances, Then something you said, I like the way you put it, pay people a living wage. Pay them a living wage. Not just anything, but anything that can take care of them, And then we need to have this monetary system. People say system, but we wonder whether the system is really working, And then you said something that is very, very crucial. And this, the first caller or the first contributor on this program said something about a robust criminal justice system. That means people should be held accountable for what they have done. We want to go to Mr. Jones. Thank you so much, Mr. Dillon. Mr. Jones, you are welcome. And while you are away, we have other speakers on board. But we want to say welcome. You want to make a comment on what Mr. Dillon said. At the same time, the topic today is how we can fight corruption. We are fighting this to minimize it. Indeed, we cannot eradicate corruption totally, but we want it minimized. So we want to hear your opinion on this matter. And you are
well, thank you very much. I was listening to the show. Beautiful panelist. I think Mr. Dillon is one of the most qualified person on this subject as a fraud expert. But I have a couple of questions for my panelists before I get into my, my expose. My question here to all of you, including the host, The things that Mr. DeLong mentioned, check and balance, accountability, fairness, all these things. My question, starting with Mr. DeLong, do you think that Mr. Boakai, who is the president, who will be the president of Liberia, do you think he has exhibited, is he qualified to put those kinds of measures into place? That's my question to you. Based on what you've seen, based on what you've heard, do you think he knows what check and balance is? Has he ever in his professional career done anything to that degree? Mr. Dillon,
Okay.
I'll start with you.
Yes. Well, if you're asking me if Joseph Boakai is capable of implementing these things, I think anyone's capable of doing it. If the political will is there, is the
no.
Question.
My question is my question, Mr. Dillon. Mr. Dillon, my question is very simple. I'm not asking you for future. I'm asking you, from the time you've been knowing Mr. Joseph Boakai, but in all his position, in all his speaking, have you heard or seen anything to suggest to you as an expert in fraud and expert in fighting corruption that this man is capable? I'm talking about future. I'm talking about past.
I would have to answer the question like a philosophical friend of mine that I know. We had a few conversations. I would have to say anyone is capable of
Mr. Dillon, that's not my question. My question is not whether he's capable or not.
Mr. Jones.
No. I don't want to meant to evade the question.
He has to
Mr. Dillon, it's a direct question. If you choose, Mr. Dillon, if you choose to not answer the question, I respect that. My question isn't is the man capable. My question is, has the man performed anything in the past, in his record of 40 years, to suggest to you that this man has fought corruption, he has put check and balances in place, whether in the office of the vice president, minister of finance, or FPRT director? That's my question. Okay. Yes or no?
So, I think based on his past experiences, I feel that, well, I personally have not seen where he has effectively placed in check and balances and internal control and curb corruption.
Okay, thank you very much.
Extensive.
All right, okay, go back when you find out otherwise, then you will talk. But Madam Host, my question to you, Mr. Boakai has ran the opposition party for over 6 years in Liberia. The Opposition Unity Party is one of the most corrupt parties in the history of Liberia. They currently have representatives and senators that are very, very corrupt, that have taken brown envelope. Have you, as a journalist, ever observed a time where Mr. Boakai, as an opposition leader or head of a political party, has taken any decision to reprimand people within his own party for corruption?
Thank you, Mr. Jones. First, I asked you a question, you did not answer. Instead, you came online and started asking questions.
Yeah, no, it's my time, right?
Just to not prolong this whole thing. One, I'm not a journalist. I'm just a talk
You are.
Talk show
you
host.
So you're asking questions. You are interviewing people. You are a journalist.
Hello. Two, I have not heard anything from Unity Party that they have put some system in place to reprimand people for harm or for some kind of corruption. I have not heard that. And
thank you very much.
I stand to be
Mr. Joseph Bonnie.
Not heard.
Mr. Joseph Bonnie.
So
you are Mr. Joseph Bonnie, I'll come to you. No, this is my time because sometimes we need to ask questions. We just don't need to talk.
I like the
so Mr. Joseph Bonnie or the other panelists on the show.
Yeah.
Can anybody cite an incident
right now
where Mr. Joe Boakai, in all his wisdom and experience, have reprimanded anybody in any position he's held in his entire life, where he dismissed somebody from a party, where he reprimanded them, where he denied somebody for running for office on his party ticket because that person was inherently corrupt? Can anybody in Liberia, anybody on this panelist tell me or cite one incident where this man has done the following?
In fact,
Mr. Bonnie, the floor is yours.
To be honest, I have no recollection of such. But I would say I have not done extensive research on it. But just from my recollection, I would say that I have no memory of such a thing. But I would say that there has been a political candidate who has dismissed people from within their party for integrity issues. I would say that Alexander Cummings did that when the book came out about the president. And Alva Tukpa has some things in there that may have been
correct. We're not talking about Alexander Cummings, we're talking about Joseph Boakai.
He fired him as no. I'm just saying that it has happened now. It has happened in the political landscape. I just haven't seen it with Mr. Boakai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not unheard of in Liberian politics. I just noticed that with the UP, the way the party operates is a lot of time. I would say it's an enigma. It happens behind the scene where a lot of things and decisions are made. We don't have any information on how it's done. So I don't know of. I have not seen it. Maybe they do it in the backgrounds, but no, I have no recollection of such.
Mr. Bunny, the floor is yours. You the elder statesman here. You know Liberia. You're from the same region of Mr. Joseph Boakai. You're very acquainted with all the situation in Liberia. Do you know of a time in your professional life, in your political life, where you saw Mr. Joseph Boakai reprimand somebody in his party, in his office, or into anything where he has displayed the level that he does not tolerate corruption or corrupt officials?
No.
Okay. I rest my case.
Before you rest your case, there's someone here that commenting on what you have said.
But I wanted to he gave me direct question and I answered it. But I think I can
because the reason why I'm asking this question here, all right? I see all the people there beating around the bush. Oh, we want corruption. Oh, we want start corruption. We want fight corruption. Mr. Boakai will do this, do that. Right?
Yeah, but I will qualify my answer.
Yeah, please qualify your answer, please. I'll give you. I'll allow you that.
No, I have not seen Joseph Boakai perform anything of such. You're concerned, okay. But because at the time, like he always has said, I was a park cop, and even that, wherever he was, if he reprimand, it goes through legal system. So I would say no, he did not. But as president, where he has the key, the master key, is where now we are going to hold him responsible. And with men like you, with men like me, and the panelists, if we are involved in Joseph Boakai government, yes, indeed, we can curtail.
Well, let me say it, right?
Okay. Let me
forget about the park thing. Forget about the vice president stuff, right? Joseph Boakai is the head of the Unity Party. He was the political leader of the political party, right? So everything that's wrong with Liberia today, Joseph Boakai has.
No, he was not the head of Unity Party in early time.
No, I'm talking about the last 6 years.
Oh, okay, yes.
And so Liberia is corrupt because of people like Joseph Boakai lack of leadership. Okay? Because Joseph Boakai tolerates corruption in his party. Joseph Boakai took a man like Samokai. This man was convicted by the Supreme Court of Liberia for stealing $1.2 million. He went to court. He was charged. He lost the case. He took the case to the Supreme Court of Liberia. The Supreme Court found him guilty. Joseph Boakai took this criminal hand in Lofa County and said, I endorse this man. How in the work and any good intent in Liberia tell me that a man who will fight corruption, when he had the opportunity in his political party, people like Barney Shema, okay, who are on sanction list in his party. We won't talk about George Weah, all won't talk about George Weah. But when it comes to Joseph Boakai in Liberia, I think he's more of an enigma to corruption. All right, he was Minister of Agriculture. Even Honor Ellen, the youth minister reported to him, the transport minister reported to him. So he could have shown the ability or the will to at least dismiss one person. If he went to Ellen and say the youth minister is corrupt, let's dismiss that person, and Ellen do it, then I will give him a pass. So let us stop daydreaming. Let us stop, like people like to do this thing where when they like somebody, then they can't see any wrong. Joseph Boakai himself is a corrupt man. He honored his office. The Unity Party collected money for this campaign. What is the report? What is the report that Unity Party has given for all the money that has been given to him? Here's a man who said he never had any money. He was living on loans. What is the loans? We need to know as a Liberian people. Now his house being renovated.
Is that not personal?
No, it's not. He's a public figure. It should be part of his. It should be part of his disclosure.
This is where Mr. Jones, now that he have come in the public eye, he has become the one to look at to do this thing. This is where we're going to judge him by.
But the man being in the public eye, the man was criticizing. Okay, hold on here. You see, again, that is hypocrisy. Joseph Boakai is not just coming in the public eye. Like I said, he's part of the opposition party. He's part of the largest political party in Liberia. The political party that passed the budget, the political party that determines everything that goes on in Liberia, the political party that's supposed to hold the government accountable. So he's not new. He's not somebody like Delon who never had any past responsibility. And in all of those responsibility, he has shown, he has condoned corruption. He has supported people who are corrupt. You cannot convince me that because you're president now, that
one
you
point,
are
please.
capable.
One point, Mr. Chuchu.
Yeah.
And the panelists, please give me this chance.
Go ahead.
Let's give Mr. Jones the opportunity to tell us how can Joseph Boakai curtail corruption. Please bring that to us.
That's very easy. The first thing is the people who, thank you. The first thing you need to do is you don't associate with corrupt people or questionable people, and which Joseph Boakai has first failed. Amara Kone is one of the most corrupt persons.
We're asking you now, how can he do?
Do not associate with corrupt people. That's the first thing anybody who is not corrupt would do. You do not go ahead and put people who are questionable, people who are in past corrupt administration, and bring them and put them around you and put them on a traditional team. And come to America and a man who is convicted for fraud, like what his name, Stanton Witherspoon, and associate yourself with this man. And then came to find out that this man is supporting you while he's running a media or in an election. That is corruption. That is corruption. It's despicable, and I have no respect for Joseph Boakai because he's a corrupt man. Okay, let's say it here. If I would be the only person in Liberia who say the truth, I would say the truth because you're scared of Joseph Boakai, and that's why your country. That's why not you. But that's why the country is the way it is. The country of Liberia is the way it is. It's corrupt because we tolerate things from Mr. Joseph Boakai. He tolerates his corruption. This man is about to appoint his nephew to be Minister of Commerce, Ami Moda. That's his nephew. That's his nephew. And we'll sit here today with a lot of those kinds of things. Ami Moda is very qualified. I know the man, but you don't do that in a country where people are already fighting against corruption, nepotism. All the half of the people who are around Joseph Boakai today, they're all from Hekante, most of them. Okay, so that's why I would do first. I would not associate myself. You won't tell me that 5 million people in Liberia that only the corrupt bunch, the one who already not serving government, Kofi Woolsey, have been eating Liberian government money for almost 20 years ago. They do nothing. They took the road fund. They didn't get any accountability that the people you got today and telling me that you're about.
Road fund and ate it. That's my question to Kofi Woolsey when I get to Liberia.
And so you're Liberian, you don't hold your heart. This man is corrupt. And you need to talk it. So you're wasting another space here.
Money.
You're wasting it. Our Bella Yara don't have road. Our Lofa County don't have schools and libraries. Because what? The people who are senator and representative, the one that Joseph Boakai endorsed, they're all corrupt. All right? The Unity Party people. Almost every last one of them are some of the people who are more corrupt than even George Weah himself. But you will sit here today because you don't like George Weah. You will promote this man as somebody who be fighting corruption, as somebody who been speaking up about the ills in society. So that's why I rest my case. I don't need to say anything else. Joseph Boakai is corrupt, Liberia will remain corrupt, and he has no intention of changing it because he's surrounded by the same corrupt people.
Okay.
Another last point. Another way you can fight corruption is you appoint people not based on party or connection. You appoint qualified people, even if you don't like them or they don't agree with you. When you take a woman like Mandela Cooper, who have not even held a job in her entire life, okay, this woman was building a school, Mandela Cooper Foundation, collected money in New York City, have fundraiser, okay, collected hundreds of thousands of dollars, no accountability. All that money disappeared. Then you go on Joseph Boakai now today that the person that's going to go for corruption in Liberia, if I should owe me some money, sir.
Look at that.
For work I did.
This is not the platform to collect your money, please.
She does.
This is not where you collect your money. Then you got to pay off for advertising.
Yeah, she owes me some money. She knows that.
Anyway, we want to go back to our topic. We are talking about how we can fight corruption in Liberia. So in your discussion, you talk about nepotism, tribalism. Those are things that have been in the Liberian society for decades. So how can we fight those things? Even though the person might be qualified, but they are connected to us. They are our relatives. Or maybe we are from the same town. How can we? You
don't put them there. You don't.
Okay,
Let me help you again, because people know nothing about leadership. You get a committee.
Chuchu, hold your peace. Let's hear from Mr. Bani on that.
Okay.
How can we get rid of nepotism and tribalism in the Liberian society, especially the leadership?
I think, Mr. Chuchu, some of us here know about leadership. You know, you chuchu. When the chuchu train start, it's just hard for it to stop.
So y'all work me all of my bed this morning to kind of talk about how we fight corruption. So we gotta talk about it.
Platform, Chuchu, you were doing
but when you say the people here don't know about leadership, I think some of us know about.
No,
leadership.
Not you. Sorry. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about our people.
Okay, say our people. When you say you people, we are on the panelists, you know.
No, anyway, I'm talking in a general sense.
Okay, sorry for my sensitivity.
No.
But here, like Chuchu have said, and our young man over there just said, I'm sorry calling you young man, but again, what's your name?
DeLong.
DeLong. Okay, DeLong. I'll remember that. I thought you were Dallas DeLong.
So this is Willie DeLong.
Okay, well, you're calling me Pape. You know, Pape sometimes forget. But here is it. Like Chuchu have just said, Joseph Boakai, all eyes are now on him. Okay? And he is the key. Right? He can say this be done and this should not be done. So, like you said, number one thing that spoils whom is trying to find favoritism. And that is nepotism. That's what spoiled Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. When Robert Sirleaf could do anything in the government, number one, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf would think, that's my son. That's my own blood. If I put him to jail, I am the one who's going to go free him. If Robert Sirleaf does wrong and he goes to whatever court, I'm the one going to free him. So she covered it up. But if it was someone like Joseph Bani in Robert Sirleaf's position, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf would fire me in a heartbeat. Or maybe put me into jail.
Yep. So
that is what nepotism does to people's government. You surround yourself with friends and relatives.
How to
get rid of that? Get rid of that. I'm not saying because they are your brother, they can't work in government. But if they are going to work, let them work under Joseph Bani. Because when I rather deal with him, I ain't going to think about him, my brother. He should not work directly under you. Those people are qualified. But again, another thing we should look at, let's look at their past record. Like just an Amara Kone. Yeah? This boy ruined his ability, his time. With the 10 million, with all of the millions of dollars he got collected, they went and bunk it. So that at this time they will come and start whistling on the people. There's a little story I always say. Here is the boy want to give his mama a Mother's Day gift. He does not have the money. The only and the mama is a single mother. She got only her rent to pay. The boy went and stole the mamas ran and went and bought a beautiful gift for the old man. On Mother's Day, presented it to the old man. Oh, she was so happy, man. My son, my only son, my only son. When rent time came, she go look in her purse, the money was gone. She started crying everywhere. Somebody steal my money, somebody steal my money. The boy said, man, I took the money. Why you did that? He said, I took the money to buy you gift. You see? This is what the people do to us, our thieves, who call them politicians. They take our money and they come and feed us and we jump behind them. We got to stop this nepotism. Like you said, Kofi Woods. Kofi Woods was giving our money to pay Belayala Road. That sucker went in and ate all our money. You know how road went to our town? The greater just went over the road just for the car to go. In fact, Ellen Johnson said he had to walk to go to Belayala. So here is the same man again. They are putting him in a C position. I agree with Mr. Chuchu. You know, Joseph Boakai would need to sit down and cut his card right, or else he will go down even worse than George Weah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pani. We'll go back to DeLon. Are we going to see a continuity of nepotism and tribalism in this Joseph Boakai's government?
Well, you know, I remain hopeful, you know, for Liberia. It's like I see Liberia like my mother. So I will always hope and pray that she does the right thing, because it's a reflection of our family, it's a reflection of me. So I would remain hopeful that you know, this administration will be able to move forward and do the right thing, based on what I have seen so far with the transition, and even the names that have come out. To be honest, it has not been confirmed. So truthfully, we can't even say that these are truly, it didn't even come out of their camp. So we can't even truly say these are the actual appointments. But based on what I've seen, I would have to say that the transition seems a bit disorganized. The transition seems a little bit as if, you know, even though they were running for president, the party, they didn't have a clear idea of a structure, you know, in place, some skeleton staff that they could put in place, you know, moving forward. So it's a lot of shifting.
We lost him.
Oh, his internet. Okay, you are back, DeLon.
Okay. Okay, so it seems like there's a lot of shuffling going on behind the scenes. And as I stated before, that's all we've seen from the Unity Party, even going into the elections, what they did prior to the elections. They operate from a very obscure, hidden, you know, perspective, and then they just present to us the decisions that they have made. So up until now, we don't really know who's going to be appointed where, but I'm remaining hopeful. But I don't see any signs that, from what I've seen so far, that Joseph Boakai is really going to take corruption, fraud, malfeasance as public enemy number one. I'm hoping that he does that. I pray that he does that. But for now, I see a disorganized group of people trying to make sense of the situation, almost like they won the election unexpectedly, and they didn't even expect to win. So they're trying now to grapple with the idea that they won, and now trying to put a plan together in the fourth quarter, like we say in basketball, or in the final chapter. They're now trying to put something quick together, and that's not good when it comes to leadership. Leadership has to be organized. Leadership has to be structured. Leadership has to be very, very intentional, you know, as to how they're going to execute things. I don't see that from the beginning, and I hope they get their act together.
Thank you. Chuchu, you have anything else to
Yeah,
say?
yeah. Look, and DeLon is a professional man. He knows what he's talking about. And I would say this much: the fact that the administration has not, the administration. Okay.
No, go ahead, Chuchu.
The fact that after 6 years of sitting down and criticizing Josh Weah, okay, that he's incompetent, that he got incompetent people, the country is in disarray. And this man, in 6 years' time, you don't know who are your ministers yet? You got to wait for 1 week before election? Shouldn't your ministers already be putting forward, be coming to the public and telling them what they're going to do in their respective ministries? Shouldn't they, your ministers, should be part of the transitional team? So if Joseph Boakai has a gender minister, that person should be known by now. That person should be working with the gender ministry so that they can make sure they understand what's going on so they can hit the ground running. The man is ill-equipped. The man doesn't know what he's doing. Okay? And that's the reality. He's confused. Half of the people that are around him have no experience. The only experience they have are in Liberia. The likes of the Kofi, who's the level Amar Colonel, what kind of deliverable have they done in all the positions they've held? Nothing. So when you're talking about Liberia is the way it is, it's because of these people. The only job they can get in their lives is working for Liberia government and working for a government that are either part of the party or the part of the tribe. So there's nothing going to change. You can be hopeful or you won't be hopeful. That doesn't mean hope does not create product. You can sit down here all day and hope I get a car or I hope I build a building. It does not do anything. All right. You have to show that you got to go get sand and cement and start digging the foundation that people can see. And then you will say, you can't even put together a government. You cannot even put a government that the Liberian people can see and examine and say, okay, yeah, I agree with this man should be Minister of Justice. You know, that's a good thing. You can't even do that. It's been how many months now? Almost 2 months. You traveling around taking pictures. You going to America. I heard that they came to America and Joseph Boakai asked the Congress or whatever to not allow dual citizenship. People who hold dual citizenship when they commit crimes in Liberia. And how stupid is that? If you're American citizen, you have protection. Okay? Nobody can, not because a political leader come in America and say, oh, if this person is in your government, you should prosecute them. You come and ask for jobs, for factory, for trade. It tells you that the people around there don't know anything. They're worse than George we are. Show me one person in the Boakai team right now that you can look at and say, this person can articulate a real policy in Liberia. This person has even written or this person has come and had a discussion. They can't even come to the press or a forum like this. I challenge all of them. Let them can't tell us what their plans are. They can't give you slogan, arrest. They say, oh, the policy. They don't even know the difference between what a cliche is and what a policy is. I'm sorry for the Liberian people. You came from words so ridiculous. That's the reality. So just you made a decision because of the corrupt media.
The partisans are saying that people should give Joseph Boakai a chance. He have not started yet, and so you cannot start expecting.
That's the problem.
So what?
That's the problem. You can give me all your time. What I'm saying, as an intellectual person, as an educated person, all right, I have not seen the progress to substantiate that even if you get into Todmon was president for 27 years. Okay? Where's Liberia today? Liberia, when Todmon had time, we had all the resources after World War II. Germany was destroyed. Within 10 years' time, Germany became the most industrial countries after the war, after everything was destroyed. So it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of progress. If you can't even form a government, all right? For 6 years, you sat down and you say, well, who will be minister of this, who will be minister of this? You are incompetent. So that you don't need you can say getting all the time. I'm convinced, all right, for the facts that this man is an incompetent man. Every position he said incompetent. He ran a political party that is one of the most corrupt. They don't have anybody in the Unity Party that have been elected that Liberian people can look at and say, this man here stand up for the right thing. Then what more I will wait for? What more you want me to wait for?
Okay,
I don't see any evidence.
Let's go to Mr. Bani. Mr. Bani, we're still talking about how to fight corruption. And we have had, Honorable Boakai is going to be appointing people to be ministers and, heads of public corporations and so forth. We need to look at people that held previous positions in government and they didn't make any impact. And if we are fighting corruption, do you think it is a good thing for Honorable Boyka to appoint a man that did not do well in his previous position?
Well,
do you think that's the way forward for Liberia?
You gave me a direct question.
And then you will tell us the reason why you think it should not be so.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he should not appoint anyone who was in his government, the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, and George Weah government, and any other government for that matter, because Joseph Boakai has been in government position or in the political arena for long. He should know that he promised the Liberian people that he will be the change. He promised us. And it's not that we are overlooking his past history, but this is where the Liberian people have come up to. Among all else, Joseph Boakai was the best. We have chosen him. Based upon this, he needs to now lay down everything that he did in the past and satisfy the people's want. Like I said, Kofi Hughes, if a name, because his name came out, I saw it. If Kofi Hughes is going to be in his government, that is an X. Amara Kone, if he's going to take a substantial aspect in his government, that is an X. Like Chuchu have said, let us do away with the with the box. I'm giving another analogy. Let's do away with the box that spoil Yagbalo Body Farm. All because it spoil Yagbalo Body Farm, it can spoil Kwekwe Unde Farm. Let's kill that bog. In other words, I'm saying those people that he knows did not do anything in the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government to bring them down, don't bring them back to power. George Weah government, don't bring them back to power. Your friends, your relative, don't bring them to a place that will be directly on you. So in other words, let's do away with those people who didn't work. They got millions of people sitting up by you who have not even been to this person who can do work like me, like Chuchu, like you, Pastor. You can head a general minister. You can head some other ministry. Let him look outside the box and not be looking in the government. Let him look outside the box. And actually, Joseph Boakai wants to have a good legacy that will erase his bad legacy. That's what he needs to do. Don't bring back people who supported the government before. It won't be no wrong. Of course, tribalism has been around too long. That's something that we cannot just curtail easily. But again, that tribesman should not be like a friend or a relative. Because it would say, for instance, he is the Gisi man. And he said he's not going to appoint no Gisi man. So does that mean that the Gisi boys should sit down? The qualified ones? No. But let him do it in a way that will not affect his government. Don't bring your brother. Don't bring your uncle. Because uncle will always be, oh, my man, let's go behind the house and discuss. So I will agree with my panelists. Let us do away with those old people. They got a lot of graduates. You have graduated a lot of Google people in politics. Cotton College. We got a lot of these people sitting now on the bench. They have not done anything. Let's bring them. Let's have new face.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Let's go to DeLong on that. Mr. DeLong, we have people graduating from colleges every year. They are graduating. Yes. And there are some very, very brilliant and smart people out there, and they are Liberians. And we have politicians, we have people that have served in government for 12 years, 24 years, 6 years. You name it, they've been there for a very long time. And we have people that just graduated. Now, we have positions that must be filled. Most of the positions, people will say, oh, we want people with experience. We're experienced. So how can we blame the people that are just coming and the people that are there, that have been there for so long, should we allow them to continue being there, or should we allow the new group that don't have experience ascend to those positions? How can we do that?
All right. So I feel like the civil service has to be based on, productivity, credentials, and experience, right?
Yeah.
I think we need to eliminate the whole political appointment process, to where people are appointing, or people get appointed to these positions purely based on their connection to the political campaign. And albeit it happens even here in the United States, though. The people who run the White House staff are the same people who ran the campaign. It happens. But I think this country is at a point, they're at a different point in the trajectory than we are. And because we are so far behind, we have to look for competence. We have to base leadership based on ability, what has been proven. So yes, I think we have to find a solution, right? That is a combination of these different factors, right? I think even when it comes to the appointments to the head of these ministries, right? Even though they say these people serve at the will and the pleasure of the president, I think a well-meaning president will set up a committee that comprises of people from academia, people from business groups that may be affiliated with that form of work that's done in that ministry. An example of that would be, let's say, the Ministry of Agriculture, right? You can bring people who are experienced in farming. You can bring people, academicians for the agricultural college. You can bring people who are involved with export and import of agricultural products, right? People from banking who are involved with financing of agricultural entities, right? You bring them together, and those people form that committee and look for credible people amongst those group of people, and then they forward these names to the president, and then the president pick amongst them. So even if the president pick a GC man from among that group, at least you know that list didn't even come from the president. It came from a group of people, and that GC man was just the most qualified man, or seemed like the most productive from that group. So then we need to do that with commerce. We need to do that with finance. We need to do that with justice. We need to do that with all the health. We need to do that with all the ministries, right? We form these committees that have people who are experts. In the expert panel will be people from the Douglas T. College, people who work at the hospitals, midwives and nurses too can send a representative to these councils. And those people will know credible people, doctors who have been put in time, people who work in the system who have been making a lot of sacrifices, and they bring those people to the forefront who will be able to do more. And over time, these different branches of the civil service, we have to grade these people on their work, and based on maybe this will be done annually, or maybe every 2 years or so, you grade the work that this person is doing in the ministry to say, would you give them a passing grade? Who was the most effective? Who was not effective? And
like
based
a
on
review.
that, if they're not, thank you, like a review. And if they have not been doing a good job, you can remove them, and then the panel submit new names. And then so the whole thing will be based on you being credible and you being competent, but not because you kisime, not because you help with the party structure, not because I'm your nephew or your wife's nephew.
Yeah, and you are the one running all behind the car when the campaign time.
Thank you very much. It will be based on us forming a system that's looking for the best and the brightest, and those who are going to put in the most in order to produce productivity.
Hey, DeLon, we need to carry this DeLon to a place where a worker will hear him, and those in the place are talking to him.
Where DeLon is part of the movement to make Liberia better think tank, and we have very smart people.
I like
it. We don't go out. We don't go out and we don't do our diligence.
Yeah.
We don't go and put people on our think tank because we know them from the same spot. That's why you get DeLon. That's why you get Bonnie.
Yes, we need to appoint people to positions, that have certified all the criteria that were set by a particular committee. That's a wonderful thing to do based on merit. Not because
so
you win the campaign.
even if the president picking him, the president picking among the best people for the job.
Exactly.
And they're picking his friend who gave him some money for the campaign.
Yeah.
You
Not
know?
because the person financed your campaign, so that means you should reward them with a ministerial position. They finance your campaign.
And Pastor Patient, let me say this, okay? There are people who finance campaigns and people they should be given a place in government. I'm not saying that everybody in the government should be they should be discarded. You can be ambassador. Ambassador don't do nothing. That's what they'll do here. If you get the campaign money, right? They send you to France to be the ambassador. You go there with your family, you go to function, you wear your black tie, you drink your champagne. You're not affecting policy.
You just implementing.
You just implement it. So you want get Amara Kone, you want get Kofi Woods, make them ambassador. Make them ambassador.
Yeah,
but you don't take a position like Ministry of Finance, right? Ministry of Finance and Development, which is one of the most important. It is one of the most important technical. You don't bring somebody who the public have not heard. The person haven't written one economic or finance paper. They haven't been on one panelist. They haven't ran one business. Then you bring them. Then you say they got 10 degrees. Nobody hires based on degrees. You hire based on experience. And I don't think you should bring somebody from the university. Liberia has people with 10, 15, 20 years of working experience. You know, I was looking at John Molu profile the other day, okay? The John Molu that they make all out of noise for. Oh, he's smart. John Molu doesn't have any real experience other than Liberian government. They may get 25 degrees with no real working experience. How can you be a CPA, you be CMA, you all that stuff, and for the last 5 years, you will look on your resume. No company has taken you to say, hey, let's make you something important. You're useless in society. That only Liberian government can go in. Why you can't go run a bank in Liberia if you're so such good as an accountant? So that's the problem we have. We take the experienced people, the qualified people, because they're not political. They're not there praising you. Alex Jones can never work for any politician because he's not going to praise you. He's going to tell you the truth. Because he knows he can get a job anywhere. And he knows he'll go to work and he'll work very hard. He's not depending on going. Dylan can get a job anywhere. So Dylan is not going to go and work for Joseph Boyka so he can go mess up his career and mess up his reputation. But you have people like Amara Kone that bounce around from one government, Kofi Woods that bounce around from one government. When Kofi Woods has ever come to give account of the ministry which he has held, he was Minister of Labor in Liberia. Look at Liberia labor statistics.
Okay, people we'll come back to calculate. Honorable Bani will soon be leaving, so let's hear what he has to say.
All right.
I want to throw light on what Mr. Dillon just said on that committee. In my platform, you know, Mr. Dillon, if you're meeting me, I'm the leader for the People's Party, TPP.
Mr. Pani, we are not campaigning here right now.
No. But I'm just saying something. Just what he said.
Yeah.
For the president not to be blamed for any nepotism or putting corrupt people in office, I would have done. I mean, I have it in my platform that I will form what I call the People's Council. That will be the committee that will be responsible to select my cabinets, and even down to where the president will make appointments. I will send them to the People's Council. Like I said, Mr. Dillon, I want him to be my finance minister. Maybe because of some attachment, or I don't know, or someone recommended him to me. I will send you to the committee, and let the committee be the one to choose you. Because that way, when you do anything wrong, I'm covered. Because it coming from the people. Just as he said, that would be the right way that we can curtail some of these nepotism and corruption in government. We got qualified Liberians who are sitting out there. They've been on the bench for too long. They've been holding Jesse for too long. Let's bring them on board. Let them be the one to do some suggestions. Let them be the one to do some selections of our cabinet minister.
Okay.
You know.
Thank you.
So that's what I would do, Mr. Dillon.
That's right. Thank you. Let's look at some specific places when it comes to corruption, because this corruption in Liberia is like it's everywhere. It's like, you know, when you have one sickness spreading all over the place. Like you have this virus going all around. It just spread from one corner to another because there's no check and balance. Like Delon said earlier, you need to have a system. You need to have a system that will monitor and that will have check and balance. And you also need to have a robust criminal justice system that for all the persecution and everything. Now we want to be very specific here. We want to look at the reason why we're not even generating the income that we're supposed to generate. So we might not be able to come out all the places, but let's take one or two places as an example of the hack in corruption in Liberia. We want to start with the entry point.
I think the Ministry of Finance and Development, because one of the biggest problems in Liberia is the ghost payroll. Okay, the Minister of Finance is responsible to manage the country economy. Okay, it's responsible to grow the economy of Liberia, to create jobs. Okay, to make sure that investments, Liberians who are into businesses, that they get the funding that they need, the loans, the grants, to grow the economy so that everybody can benefit. So that would be where you start. When you just look at the Ministry of Finance in Liberia for the last 20 years, it's a joke. You get Samuel Twe, again, they're not a degree holder. They come to America for 2 years to get a degree. They have no work experience, all right? And they jump there, they made a Minister of Finance. You have never served in a position, you never, a financial position, and you go and become the top. So Ministry of Finance is where you start in Liberia. You get somebody who knows business, somebody who can communicate, somebody who knows how to create industries. Somebody now you go to school and you learn it, but you can practice it. Somebody who has been in the field for at least 10, 20 years. But while I see the person who they bring in there, how long have you been, into finance? You don't go and take
speculation. We don't know.
Well, like I said, by now the list should be off. So if they want, I have every right to speculate, because if there were serious people, you have 5 years, you have a political party, and you don't know who your Minister of Finance is, then you're a joke. And that's why when I make my criticism to Mr. Bawka, I'm not making it because I don't like him. I made the same criticism to Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf, who take a man like Afon who had no real practical experience, never ran a bank, never ever worked in the financial industry. And you take this boy just from University of Liberia, you send him in America for 6 months, 1 year schooling, then he goes by and become a minister. Then he failed miserably there. You take him there, he made Minister of Foreign Affairs. What kind of foreign affairs experience does he have? How can this man doesn't even know, how to even interact with people internationally. So your country is suffering when you see China and Singapore and Rwanda and Botswana and all these countries doing well, because they don't select idiots. They don't select people and bring them and train them in a ministerial position. You bring the best people, the best of the best. There are only 3 positions that I've heard, people that I've heard that I will pass those tests, or people who I believe that are qualified. Sarah Yenti, I think they want to make her Minister of Foreign Affairs. She's very capable. She has the experience. She's worked at the UN. She's worked at the Ministry of Health. She's worked in and outside the country. So I'll give her a pass. To tell people that are not just criticizing everybody that broke out things. Another man, Kabina Janet. If Kabina Janet is Minister of Justice, I can say Kabina Janet can come out. He's showing his will against that. He's even willing to lose his position as a justice to say the truth. So they should make Kabina Janet Minister of Justice. Now Gonglo that been there. Now Tema Gonglo is useless.
Not Gonglo.
Okay, and the third person I will see, which I would like to see more of him, is Jonathan Pelele.
Excuse me, the man was running his campaign and he had a broom to sweep corruption. How can the man be carrying broom to sweep corruption? He's saying the man was corrupt.
Because he was just using the same old Christian that most thieves have always done. They're doing the thing in the back, but they come to the people and think they can fool us. I was one of the men. I was one of the more critical person against Taiwan Congo.
The man was Minister of Justice before.
He was Minister of Justice.
The man was Solicitor General.
He was Solicitor General, yes. And he did not prosecute anybody.
and talk about corruption when his job was supposed to be to prosecute corrupt people. He's the only person in Liberia that can level charges against corrupt officials. He's the only person in Liberia, the Solicitor
He's
General.
the only one that could have done that. He didn't do it.
But he sat there, Robert Salif then stole money, American then stole money. He supported Ellen, they can still they will not try it to even put into anti-corruption. He's useless.
We're still looking for the solution to curtail.
They don't already give me your solution. Get an independent.
Only one there. Oh, you talk about Ministry of Finance. You say that should be the first place we should start. So,
correct.
Apart from the leader, because you talk about we should put a competent leader, is that the only thing we need to do to start with Ministry of Finance and change and put a leadership in place or the head?
No, like I just said, you need a complete government, right? That's why they got about 20 ministries. So I just need, if Sarah Yeti is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I will sleep good at night, knowing that she can go out there and she can represent Liberia. She already experienced. All right, forget the education.
On her watch, she won't have people selling Liberian passport, right? Like the way we have experienced over the years.
Well, if she sell Liberian passport, I'll be the first. Even though that my friend,
over her watch.
Yeah, I will be the first person to criticize her. I will be the first person to criticize her on day one, and she should make sure. And she should make sure that she reduce her salary by 50%. She don't need the Liberian government to tell her that. She should say, "Listen, I want to serve my people, and I'm willing to take half of what so that other people in the country can get something."
Okay.
So if she's listening, those are the things I would expect from her. I also will expect from her. Hold on now. I also will expect from her to already have formulated a foreign policy for Liberia. The idea that Leonine businessmen can come to Liberia and foreigners can come to Liberia and run mining companies and iron ore companies and all these different things. And Liberians are poor and wretched. She should come up with a foreign policy that Liberia would not be the one that when US say, "Oh, go vote for Israel," then she gotta go vote for Israel. She will be able to articulate at the UN where Liberia stand. We stand against war. We want ceasefire in Gaza, and we want to make sure that international community. That's what you look for, and I think she can do that. And I will be here to make sure that she does it, or she should be fired in 3 months.
Thank you. Okay, we are here on the round table, and we are talking about how to fight corruption in Liberia, how to minimize it, and we are at the point where we want to start from ministries and agency. And Mr. Jones said, in order to fight corruption, we should first start. He gave some other areas, but when it comes to ministries and agency, we should start with finance ministry. That's his stand on fighting corruption. We want to go back to our panel. We want to hear their own view. If I should fight corruption in Liberia, where should I start? Where should we start? We want to go to Mr. Barney because he will soon be leaving us. Mr. Barney, he pinpointed finance ministry. There are some other income generating places in Liberia. What is your own opinion on that?
I will go to our post of entry.
Okay.
Our post of entry, especially so the Freeport and the Rabat International Airports. Those places bring in enough funding for the country. Revenue.
Yeah.
If only we have people who are honest. Especially, so let me go to the aviation industry because I have experience in that. In the aviation industries, let's say we have the Freeport running, where if any goods are coming in, it's going to be overseen by qualified people. You know what I mean? Not because the president or Mr. Buckey's son is going to import something, fly in and just hit the ground and they take it and carry it. Just as the same with the Freeport, people are carrying containers. The Lebanese, they carry in a bunch of containers. What do? They go bribe out of somebody in the finance ministry or revenue department, and they just slide it off. That's losing revenue. So I think they should have an oversight of the free port and the airport. That's one of the main areas where Liberia can grow fast in economic.
Thank you, Mr. Bonnie. Thank you. Delon?
Short and sweet. Short and sweet.
Yeah. What's your own suggestion?
Yes, for me, like I said, man, I think we have to implement systems in each branch of government. It has to start with the people at the top. They have to make sure that they allow their co-workers or the people that work below them to be accountable to each other by implementing things like internal controls and have people checking on each other. I think the new government coming in has to strive to find a way that everyone is paid a living wage so that they won't be tempted to look left and look right. Because an example of that would be right in the port. When I was a kid, I knew people that worked in the port, and they used to bring burger rice home all the time. Now the burger rice were coming home because there's wage in the port couldn't pay for the burger rice. So they were cutting all type of deals on the side in order to be able to bring bags of rice outside and sell it to make extra money. So I do think we have to look at that. We have to pay these people a competitive wage. We have to make sure that they understand that they're being monitored continually. We have to make sure that our internal controls were one hand watching over the other hand. The person that's receiving the goods is not the same person who's recording it. It's not the same person who's receiving payments, and making payments in the into the government revenue. When all these things are in place, it creates a new form, a new culture, and still they're going to be people who are going to test it. They're going to do penetration testing. They're going to test it to see if they can still try to get things done. When those things are done, and you find it, you have to make sure that the justice system works effectively, efficiently, and fairly. So then that makes sure that means that these people will be penalized. If they are penalized and they see that these people are getting harsh sentences. And at the same time, the internal controls are working. I think over time it will curb, it will mitigate the corruption, the fraud in the country, and then over time it will be able to keep more money in the revenue, and we'll be able to use the money effectively to do things for ourselves instead of living as a beggar nation like we have been doing, going from country to country with hat in hand, begging for help. We'll be able to start to help ourselves.
Amen. Hopefully. Okay, Chuchu, we are getting our closing comments now, so we're starting with you.
Yeah. So I would agree with Delon internal controls, but the person who's supposed to put internal controls into practice for all the ministry is the Ministry of Finance. So whenever you see there's lack of internal controls at the port, that means you have an inadequate, unqualified person running the Ministry of Finance. Whenever you hear corruption, that means you have not put in the internal controls at the Ministry of Finance. You have not prosecuted anyone at the Ministry of Finance or asked for the Ministry of Justice to prosecute them. We all know. You think who putting the people on sanction in Liberia? That is Treasury Department. That is the Supreme Court. It's a United States Treasury Department that's saying that people.
Are you saying the Ministry of Finance is the one responsible for people taking bribes and giving bribes?
They should be responsible for people not taking bribes, and they should set in place the right procedures and practices. And when people take bribes, they should know it, because that is their job. Their job is not just to create a budget. That's why I say some of these idiots, they don't even know their job. So if you have that bureau stay corrupt, that because you don't have internal control, they don't even know what internal controls is, because they never work in a suitable environment. So our problem goes by the very same people, the Gafuan and the minister, the Burma Kamara, and who to jump around, talking about the educated people, they don't know anything. Because if you have an effective Minister of Finance that puts in place and says, every day I'm going to have Ministry of Finance representatives at all the government ministries. We are going to monitor you guys. We're going to make sure that your revenue is generated, that 2 or 3 people over every process and every transition. That's not the job of the president. That's the job of the Minister of Finance. But they are so incompetent that they don't even know their job. The team Minister of Finance is to go to meeting to the IMF. The team Minister of Finance that will walk around and talk about budget. So that's the first problem you have in Liberia is you got a lot of incompetent people because they've never had the work, the work experience. They are students. There are people who just graduated from school yesterday and they go and join a political party, and now you put them in this very important position and it takes 6 years to do it. You don't need 10 years to tell them internal controls. If you already have your finance minister and that person know what they're doing, internal controls can be set up in the first month. They'll say it won't be business as usual. But right now you don't even have internal control in the United Party. Then you're telling me say you're gonna have internal control in the government. You don't even know how much money, they don't even know how many people they got. They don't even know how many they collected. But you're gonna take one of these idiots from there and tell them, say, oh yeah, go be Minister of Finance. So Liberia, just start wasting your time. The thing is, this has been done, it's been done in Rwanda, Tanzania. Magufuli took 3 years. 3 years and straightened Tanzania up. 3 years. And brought development, railroad, all that stuff. He cut government salaries. He slashed foreign travels. Okay, so it can be done, and it has been done in Africa. It's been done in Africa, but they have leaders who know what they are talking about and leaders who are serious. Walker is not a competent. I don't even think he's smart. Because like broad people will tell me, say, oh, the man won election. Well, Traoré won election. Joe Weah won election. That don't make you smart.
That's a strong statement over there.
No, well, see, Joe Weah won election, so that means Joe Weah is smart. So Joseph Boakai is not a smart man because like I asked the question before I started. What has this man done in his 40 years of career or anything he's held? He been LPRC managing director before. Let's look at LPRC. They don't even have a financial statement. I doubt they even know how to read a financial statement. If you can't read a financial statement, how are you supposed to know what the inadequacies are and how you grow and develop an entity? But you take it from there, then you carry it to another ministry because why? You want to vote for the country. It's despicable because the solutions are there and the people are available, and you take the worst people and you put them in technical key position, and then you wonder why the country is so high. Oh, the country is so high. Oh, you don't need time to set up internal control. It's a textbook thing.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you. Your closing comment, Mr. Barney.
Oh, thank you so much, Pastor Patient and Fortified City for the opportunity, and the Liberian people and those of you who listen to us, thank you for the audience you've given us. I think we gather here most of the time, especially so about this time, to discuss issues that matters to the country. And I know you got your own opinions, just as your own judgment. But when we all put our ideas together and come up with something concrete, I think we can move our country in the best directions for development. And also, I will look up to the government to provide jobs for our people, especially the youth population, more especially the young women who are going to college, getting out of college. Let's find place for them to work, so that even the community, not just the corruption we should be looking at, but let's look at life in our community, where they are carrying on street justice. There's no law and order. That because, again, these people are suffering. They don't have nothing else to do. So if we use the youth to work in the agriculture, in the military, in the police, in beautifying our cities, they will have no time to rest, to go do criminal activities. So I will look to the government to look at that, to create jobs for our youth and our young people. Thank you for the audience, and we'll be here again next week.
Thank you, Mr. Barney. Mr. DeLong, Willie DeLong.
Yes. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on this forum today. It's an honor, it's a pleasure. I've been inspired by even the people, my panelists here that I shared the panel with. I've been inspired even by the people back home and them adding to the discussion. I think this is very important. It's something that we should continue in order to, push the discourse further and espouse ideas that will help our country to move forward. And so in connection to what we discussed today, when it comes to corruption in our country, I think first and foremost, those who are in leadership have to exhibit the true hallmarks of leadership. And in so doing, they have to be very deliberate. They have to be exact, precise, and focused on, the problems that are facing the people. And one of the most pertinent problems we have in our country at the moment would be corruption, because it has permeated the culture from every aspect, every length and breadth of our country, in our social fabric. And so we need to put it at the forefront, make it public enemy number one. And leadership needs to lead. And that's why I always talk about the tone at the top. The people at the top have to make sure that they communicate that to our people, that it will no longer be tolerated. And they have to take prudent action against those who do it, but they also have to set things in place to be able to curb corruption. They have to give the people the incentives to do the right thing. They have to understand that we're amongst the poorest countries in the world. People are not being paid enough to even sometimes afford a decent meal and take care of their families. We have to make sure that we do provide that for our people. And that too curbs corruption by giving them the incentive to do the right thing. And then we have to also live by what we say we will live by, and that is by implementing it. So when the man at the top does something wrong, he doesn't get a slap on the wrist. He faces the same level of justice that the man at the bottom who did something wrong faces. And that brings about fair play. And when you have fair play, then you start building trust. And once you start building trust, people will give their all, and we all will start working towards a better Liberia. Thank you. Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you. I like that. So this is Fortified City TV, and this is the roundtable. If you are just joining us, we are about closing. There was a time of wonderful exchange here today. Our topic was how we can fight corruption in Liberia, and we had opinions from people within the community as well as our panel that are on the platform this time. And we also decided to just look at one or two of our ministries, that are also affected by this corruption. And Mr. Jones commented, or his opinion on the matter was that if we should start with any place, we should start with the Ministry of Finance, because it is the entity responsible for revenue in the country. And if they set in motion the system that will check and balance everything as it concerns revenue, then we won't have a spillover. And Mr. Barney also told us that the income generating places, also like ports, the port of entry, which is the airport and the seaport, is something that needs to be properly monitored. And Mr. DeLong, our financial forensic expert, gave a whole list of how we can help to minimize corruption. He talks about internal control. When you lack internal control, everything else is going to fall apart. He talks about leaders, people that are put into the place of leadership. He said, and I want to quote him, he said, leaders have to exhibit true hallmark of leadership. So if you are a leader and you are not exhibiting that true hallmark of leadership, if your leadership is selective, you are leader of certain group of people in your office, you favor certain group of people in your office, you punish certain group of people in your office, you're not going to have a good leadership. You're not going to be effective in your implementation of the agenda for that ministry or for that agency. So leadership exhibiting a true hallmark of leadership is very important. And he also stressed check and balance, internal control. So if you go to Ministry of Finance and you see the things that are happening there, people have ghost checks all over the place. The payroll are not done the right way. People are taking bribe before you can process your document in the Ministry of Finance. You go to process one single document, you have to pass from table to table to table. It means the minister in charge is not doing his work. He's not a good leader. If you go to the port of entry, the person responsible for that port, and you see to clear your container is another hustle and tussle. And people are demanding. They don't even ask, so they demand bribe. They make the bribe look like you owe them. This is terrible. It shows that you have a bad leader. The person in charge of that port is not competent and should not even be there, because they are losing, the country is losing revenue. At the same time, it is stopping business people from thriving. And at the end of the day, what are you going to have? You're going to have a country that is a beggar country, and poverty will continue to exist among the people. So in order to stop these things, you have to place people in strategic places, people that are ready to be leader. Go to the Liberian Business Registry. You have people passing all around the place. They are like, oh, we are agent, we are this, we are that. When you have people in the office that should be doing their work, you have other people passing around and want to process paper for the very same reason why you were there or you are there. These things need to stop. If we want to move forward, this new Liberia, we must move forward intentionally. We must move forward with the mindset that we want to see the change happen, and that change must start with us. You can go to Liberian Business Registry. They are demanding bribe before they register your business. They are purposely holding onto your document because they want you to get a certain amount. What kind of life are we expecting to live in? What kind of change do we want to see? If these same people are holding onto the revenue of the country, you are saying you are not taking pay, but you are demanding people that go and process documents to get you bribe. How are you supposed to take pay? You are already paying yourself. And then the people that are over those ministries or have authority, they are not doing the work. They are not doing the work they're supposed to do. Check and balance, internal control, and everything else that go with leadership. So this is the roundtable of Fortified City TV. We bring to light the issues affecting that nation, the nation of Liberia. And we are doing this because we want solutions. We are not doing it to bomb off anyone, but we are looking for solutions. If you're looking for solutions, then your eyes will be everywhere. You will not be in a box, but you will look also outside the box. And if you want recommendation, I can recommend. Willie Dillon is here. I'm recommending him. Financial forensic auditor and everything you can think about.
That's good. Yeah.
Title and everything.
Have you been in government before?
No. He has not been in government. But he been working.
But then those are the people we need. New faces.
You don't be working
who have the ideas
for different organizations, a far bigger organization than what we have in Liberia.
Right. These are the men we need. These are the people.
He's more than qualified. So I'm just saying this, there are other people out there that are qualified. So you should move. If you're a leader, move from under the box. Don't think that because your friend is from and he help you during the election, so that means you need to reward him with the Ministry of Finance. You're not ready for Liberia to move forward. I'm looking for the new Liberia and everything that we need to do to ensure that the new Liberia take place. We're going to be taking those actions. We're going to be doing those things. We are going to be keeping people feet to the fire to do exactly what they have promised. So, thank you for joining us.
So, what play more me now?
Thank you for joining us. For you, you've been running campaign illegally. You've been running campaign on this platform.
So, what play more me?
We'll find a place for you at the airport.
He understand for sure the area in the seaport.
Yeah. We're putting you at the airport.
For an oversight committee to evaluate all those things. Yeah.
So I want to say thank you so much for joining us. This has been a presentation by the Fortified City TV. And we will be here next week, Saturday, bringing to light the issues affecting the lives of the people in Liberia. We want to move from a beggar nation to a prosperous nation.
To give, to be able to give.
And the change, it starts with us.
Yes.
From the leader downward. When you go into the hospital, we want to bribe anybody before we can be seen by the doctor.
Exactly.
Wherever we go, we don't want bribe to be at the forefront. We want to be able to do what we ought to do in the manner in which we ought to do them, with also somebody coercing us. So I want to say thank you for joining us. If you want to be part of this discussion, the text is also open. Our telephone number is also available on our page. You can call me and we have a discussion. So the discussion continues. So we say thank you for joining us, and please be with us next week Saturday on the roundtable. I want to say thank you to our panelists. It was a very, very educative and rewarding discussion, and we will be here again to listen to all you have to say. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. To those that are out there, this is a new year. Begin to do new things. The sky is just the beginning. It's not your limit. You are more than able. You have great potential. God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful new week and beyond. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.